Let's have a quick review of some of the great new features in Docker Enterprise Edition 1706. First up, security is more important than it's ever been. So, controlling who has access to what and what levels of access they have, obviously it's vital. Well, the latest version of Docker EE brings a couple of powerful new access control features. First up, the ability to define custom roles, and second up, role-based access control for nodes. The custom roles let us get extremely granular when we're defining exactly what kind of access users get to resources. I mean, there's still the default roles like full control, restricted control and view only, but those are hardly granular. With custom roles, we can get right down into the weeds and even pick and choose the individual API operations that we want to allow. So a couple of examples might be a custom role that just allows network operations and another custom role that just allows volume operations. Switching to RBAC for nodes. This lets us configure which users and teams can deploy to which nodes in the cluster. So maybe a dev team and a prod team. The devs can only deploy to a subset of cluster nodes labeled as dev, and the prod team to a subset labeled as prod. Moving away from access control, there's now support for Linux and Windows workers in the same cluster. Now this is great if you're running hybrid apps where some of the services are Windows and some are Linux. In those cases, you'd define your services and the volumes and the networks and the likes, and then you'd use a placement constraint to run the Windows services on Windows nodes and the Linux services on Linux nodes. And add in the fact that you can now push Windows images to Docker Trusted Registry and have them security scanned, it is clear that we are really going places with Windows support. On the build side of things, you've now got the ability to create pipelines that let you promote images through repos like dev, testing and prod. And they can be retagged along the way. So maybe you'd have a policy on a development repository that says something like, as long as the image doesn't have any major or critical vulnerabilities, and if it's tagged with a certain tag, then go ahead and promote it to the production repo and give it a new tag. Really cool. You can also tag repositories as immutable. So that means no more accidentally deleting images or even accidentally pushing a newer version on top of it. Then there's multi-stage builds, something developers have been dreaming of. With this, you can write a single Docker file with multiple from instructions. Each from instruction starts a new stage of the build, and then you can pick and choose exactly which artifacts you want to carry over from previous stages. The short and skinny here is the ability to leave messy build artifacts behind and only carry forward the things that are needed at runtime. Net result, smaller images with a lot less hassle. And who doesn't want that? Well, I think capping it all off is the new Streamlined Ui. It's faster, smoother, and generally slicker all around. And there is now a public API for UCP features. So yeah, plenty of great new tools to make our lives a lot easier. To find out more, come and visit us at www.docker.com/enterprise edition.